Hey, good morning from Area 51 Raceway. What I'm going to cover here is this is another part of the beach racer build. And what we're going to do is, since we built our chassis in the last videos and put our little, guide little loops there, holders. Now, what I've done is put holes for the mounts. And all I did was get a 3/32 drill bit and drill my holes out. How I measured them out is basically with a ruler, and then kind of, put a line, kind of line them up. When you drill the, before you drill, just line them up if you can with the little dots. And you just use a marker, and all you're doing is just spacing it out, how far you got compared to your next hole. And sometimes I've screwed this up on, and on sometimes, doing these, but these are look pretty good. So, and all you do is just drill out your holes, and the screws you'll use, or that I use, are the NSR 4836 body screws, and these fit perfectly in here, like so. I'm sorry, I'm holding the camera because my camera holder broke, and obviously they fit in there nicely, and they're large enough to where the body could float around. And that's what you want. You want them a little bit loose, moving around a little bit in the holes. This way, the body could float real nicely along with, the chassis. On a full body car, basically. On a mod, it's not really needed for body float, but we're not doing a mod. We're doing it as beach racer. 55 Chevy. Don't mind the cut there. I cursed very loud when that happened. I used some UV glue, and I'm going to try and super glue it on the other end and kind of sand it down to hide it with the paint job. So that kind of stuff happens, and I had to cut this out because this has like fender wells, and it's obviously not going to clear when I put the body on. So that being said, we've got our chassis together, and basically I got the wheels and the tires on. I'm going with a little bit of a smaller wheel in the front and a little larger wheel, larger tire in the front and larger tire in the back. Those are the Paul Gauge tires that we spoke about in the very first video. And basically I've set it on here, as you can see, it's nice and true. It's not teetering. So if you put it on the block and you say you push this, and then this is kind of up in the air a little and it kind of wiggles, you don't panic. You can grab this chassis and you do the old trick. And what you're going to do is, if it is off, you can twist the chassis a little. Because all you want to do is just make it true. So you can see this is nice and true. And usually that doesn't happen with these type of builds. Sometimes the mods will happen because they're thinner wire, but we're not building a mod again. But if you run into that, you can twist it a little, with your hand. Just give it a little tweak. It's brass. Don't panic, and you can square out your chassis. But this is pretty good, all set. Sometimes that happens, so I'm just letting you know. But we have this all set right here, all ready to go. Nice, nice and how would you say, true. And what you want to do is look here. As you can see, they're really close, but you got to remember, you can see how the tires are all wobbly. You're going to glue these, and then you're going to true these, and you're obviously going to shave the inside. Now, if it is too close, you can use spacers, which is no big deal. Say you want to space it out a little, maybe it's too far into the body, and you could space them out if you need to. Get some spacers for the axles, and as long as they don't hit the inside of the fender well, you're good. So what you want to do here is, when you got this all done, you want to get just your body itself, and you want to position it on your chassis. Now what I do is I use what's called a jeweler's block, which is a smaller one. Now this works good on 1/25th scale cars. 1/32nd, I use a piece of wood because they're much smaller to fit the body on, and they're a little bit tougher to do that on a 1/32nd scale car. So what I'll do with this is I'll grab this and put it here. I just barely makes it, looks like. So I'll put it here, and what I'll usually do, now I got these, so I just pin it to keep it from moving. And So let me say it like that. It's not going to go anywhere there, but I'm going to pin it anyway. The tires are barely touching the block because this is a little bit of got a little bit of short wheelbase. So we got it secured there, and then you're going to get your body and place it on there like that. Now you see the body's on the block. And if you want to raise this, you say you don't want it that low, or you want to go more for the, because having the car low, it's legal to do it on the proxy, but if you don't want it that low and you want it to look like the right height, like they were for model scale static purposes, then you could get popsicle sticks and put them here. And you could also even put the popsicle sticks and use the pins to hold them in place also. And then you can set your ride height even higher now. So, and then you can just line up your body, get it where you want it. And once you have this in position, what you do is you get your strips of Plastistrut, either 80,000s or 60,000s. I use 80,000s, and you glue them, super glue them to the side of the body, or if you could UV glue them, you get the UV light in there. On 1/25th scale cars, it's a little bit easier than it is on 1/32. So say this is a piece of Plastistrut, and you're going to put it in there and set it in there, and kind of push it in there like with a up against the body with a a file here. I can't talk. And you just hold it in place, and you could also pin the body in place too if you want. Say you got your right. I'm using this example. You'll just kind of like pin your body. So you pin it like that, and you pin over here, and you hold the body in place. See how it doesn't move. And then you can put your Plastistrut, and obviously you want to make it wide enough to cover the holes, but not too wide to go interfere with the inside of the chassis. And I'll cover that part. And that's how you kind of set it down there and line up your, put your body together here. So you can see, there's that. And it's all pretty much set to go there. And just like that. And then you could glue it, and you let it sit, or however you use UV glue. As long as it sit and the things are nice and level, you could pick it up, and then you can mix some epoxy and then epoxy it onto the body. And then you could let it dry for about an hour. Epoxy takes about an hour to dry. It says 15 minutes. I give it an hour or two. Come back, position the body on your chassis, drill the holes, and put the running gear in, and you could run the car around. Even if you haven't chewed the wheels, it's not going to run real great, but you could see how it kind of, do a little test drive or test run. And you can get that all done first and, fixed up. Now, if you're going to use a full interior, you'll want to put the full interior in first, obviously. And that's a little bit more trickier, but I'm going to, per se, we're going to use a tray interior in this because I'm not going to use the full interior, because I'm going to try and make it easier with just using the tray interior. So if you put the Plastistrut in there, you could slide a tray interior in there. That's no problem. But if you plan on using the full interior, I think this interior is a short enough, it's like a very narrow, well, not narrow, but short pan in height, that I could probably slip it over the Plastistrut, because some interiors are different. So I'll go over that also and see how this works out. But this is just a little quick tutorial on how you set up your height of your body and how you get them just kind of positioned to put the Plastistrut in there. This is from Amazon. This is a smaller jeweler's board. I can't remember the size, but I use this a lot to kind of hold the body in place, because I really had a difficult time when I first started doing this and getting stuff done, and it would sometimes be a little bit, kind of frustrating with it to do it. But all in all, it's just a useful tool to have in your little arsenal here, just so you could get it positioned the way you want to. So that's it from Area 51 Raceway. Just wanted to share that real quick. You take care, and again, have fun racing.